Lindgren checks. Glasner is checked. Turn is a 5 of spades.
I don't think E-Dog's going to be checking anymore here.
Lindgren bets 600. Now you'll notice that the Card Player Magazine percentages do not add up to 100, and that 7% discrepancy takes into account the chance for an ace that would split the pot. Glasner here aggressively raising to 2,400.
Eric Lindgren does not know what to make of this. He's never played with Steven before. He's got to put Steven on at least a pair of aces with a good kicker. Eric may feel, he probably does feel, that he very well could be beaten this hand, so he just calls.
River is a 10 of spades. Eric Lindgren will win this hand should he not fold. He checks. Glasner bets 1,500.
And Eric still does not know what to make of this hand. He's got to feel that Steven Glasner could have aces up here.
Oh, man, don't be a cooler. Don't be a cooler.
Lindgren calls.
And Steven Glasner throws down his king like he thinks it could be good. He sees Eric's hand and knows he lost the pot.
Lindgren takes down the win, and Glasner does his best to stay with the more experienced player. Meanwhile, an all-in situation between Chris Moneymaker and Tuan Le. And though Moneymaker has his opponent covered, his aces trail trip 10s for Le.
And Tuan Le, of course, is on America's Most Wanted top 10 list, so he's got to cover his face. Actually, he didn't want to see an ace or a heart, which would have given Chris Moneymaker the pot and knocked Tuan Le out of the tournament. But it was no ace, no heart, and Tuan Le has doubled up.
So back to our feature table with James Woods staring down Scott Fishman. These two have been playing to a push, virtually even at this point. Fishman with Jack-9 offsuit calls. And we look in on James Woods' hand via the Outback Pocket Cam.
184.
184?
Yeah.
Ollie, our table announcer, asked James if it's true that he had a 185 IQ, and James corrected him, said no, it's only 184.
No, I'm trying to play a good hand here, okay? Relax.
That's why I'm able to use words like Gestalt.
Fishman flops 2 pair with 7-9 Jack.
I'm going to check.
James checks. It's a good check because that could be a very dangerous flop. Scott Fishman called 1,400 before the flop. James Woods does not like that 7-9 Jack, and he's right. Scott Fishman has top 2 pair.
There's 2,800 in the pot. James
And James calls at 1,200.
He's hoping Scott's on a draw.
Turns a 9, and it brings Scott Fishman a full house.
Turn card pairs the board with the 9. The board now reads Jack 9, 9, 7, 2 spades. James checks.
Woods checks.
And Scott checks. I like that check from Scott Fishman.
Rivers a jack, and even better full house for Scott Fishman, who cannot be beat in this hand.
James Woods is checked. And Scott Fishman is going all in. He's trying to make James Woods think that he's bluffing. That maybe his ace high is good. Maybe he's missed his draw.
I know you don't have this.
And that's what James is thinking.
You don't have this. All right, go ahead, take it.
Oh, and you see Scott Fishman feigning weakness.
I know you don't have that. You didn't have that, did you?
No, I had that ace like you.
Yeah, that's
all. Oh, liar.
It was a great play by Scott Fishman. Just bet a little too much money. Bet a little less, James would have called.
We've got a pre-flop all-in at one of the outer tables where Tuan Le has Chris Moneymaker down to just $2,800, and Moneymaker needs a win to stay alive in the match. Flop is 7, ace, 10.
Chris Moneymaker's flopped a pair of 7s, but it's not much good at this point because Tuan Le's got a pair of aces. Chris is going to need a 7 or a 6 to take the lead here on the turn.
Chris Moneymaker's father, Mike, knows that his son's back is up against the wall. And it's really up against the wall now. 2 pair for Tuan Le.
Right, and the only card Chris can win with is he needs one of the remaining 2 sevens.
It's the 7.
7 on the river. What a card for Chris Moneymaker. Moneymaker's still around. Yeah, laugh it up, Dad. Your kid's still playing. Welcome back to Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, the home of champions. In this week's edition of Heads Up, we look at a hot-button issue in the world of poker, the ongoing debate over sunglasses.
They want to wear sunglasses, wear them. I look at other things, not their eyes.
Part of what makes the game interesting is having to suffer the other person's gaze when you're bluffing.
I don't usually wear the big blacked out kind of like welder's glasses. If I wear them, it's just more for my comfort or for fashion, I guess.
I used to wear the shades because I was nervous and wasn't confident at the table. Now I'm confident at the table. I won't wear shades that much.
If we go to the point where we cover ourselves completely, we might as well just be playing on the internet because you're losing the human element.
And we're going to see a flop. These go on. And now whatever happens, this is what he gets to see.
Heads up.
I like to wear dark glasses too. I also bring a sun reflector sometime. Beach chair helps me.
Scott Fishman with Big Slick. And he'll raise to 1,500. So James Woods with the glasses on pre-flop here. He looks through them to see a pair of queens.
No raise.
Raise.
Hey, Ali.
He's trying to get the attention of the tournament MC. He raises to 4,500.
He was sort of indicating there that he's got a big hand calling Ollie over. Now, Scott Fishman's got to decide what to do with his Big Slick here. I would think he's just going to call.
No, instead he moves all in, and James quickly calls him.
All right, players, go ahead and turn your hands over. If you
That
would.
surprises me. Scott Fishman has put himself in a race situation with James Woods for basically all the chips that both of them have. There's 36,000 in this hand. If Scott Fishman were to lose, he'd wind up with only $4,000.
Flop comes 8-7 king, a pair of kings for Scott Fishman, and James Woods is in trouble.
He needs a queen.
King of clubs, 7 of spades, 8 of diamonds.
2 queens left in the deck. James Woods needs one of them.
No queen on the turn.
Needs a queen on the river.
James needs a queen here to win this flop. There's only 2 left in the deck.
Somebody in the crowd realizes what the percentages are. 5%, James is going to catch a queen here.
No queen on the river, and Scott Fishman has eliminated James Woods. And after all the back and forth in that match, it came down to just one hand as Scott Fishman, a quarterfinalist last year, moves on once again.
Well played. It's a hard call, I'm sure.
Over to table 3 now, where Eric Lindgren is trying to move past Caesars qualifier Stephen Glassner. Glassner down to just $6,300. Suited connectors for Lindgren. He calls.
Stephen Glassner, by the way, looks to me like a beefed-up Arnold Horshack.
9-7 off suit. Glassner checks. Flop is 8-10-4. Pair of eights for Lindgren.
Also a flush draw for Eric Lindgren and an open-end straight draw for Stephen Glassner.
So after Glassner had checked, Lindgren bets out 600. And Glassner calls. The turn brings a 6, and Glassner makes it straight.
He's got the absolute nuts, the absolute best hand anybody could have right now.
So after a rather coy check by Glassner, Lindgren bets out 2,300. And Glassner's going to move all in.
Does not wait, puts all his chips in there. Eric's got a call. He's got the pair, straight draw, and a flush draw. He calls, and he needs a diamond.
Just bring a 9, we'll just chop it up.
9 would chop it, a diamond would win it for Eric Lindgren.
Go ahead and show us the last card. It's a
diamond on the river. Lindgren makes his flush, and with it, flushes away the